Atmanirbhar India, a campaign which was launched last year amidst the raging pandemic, became a central agenda for discussion, which assessed numerous variables and elements into how this new Atmanirbhar India can cut through all possible disparities into making a country which is completely self-reliant in its own kind. Greetings to our viewers. I welcome you to this segment produced by the Kootneeti. I'm more than honored to welcome Mr. Jayesh Ranjan. He is an Indian Administrative Service Officer of the batch 1992 and is currently serving as the Principal Secretary of the Industries and Commerce and IT for the Telangana government. Sir, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Let's
Thank
begin
you.
with the first question. The Atmanirbhar Bharat is a visionary plan to make India self-reliant. How would you situate this visionary program vis-a-vis the state machinery?
Thank you very much, Arijita, for having me on your show. So let me share a few kind of background context issues. See, as all of us would know, Atmanirbhar campaign was introduced, targeted largely at a particular country, one of our countries in our neighborhood, with whom we had a border skirmish also. If you recall, last year, there was a very painful kind of a border skirmish. Our soldiers lost their life, etc. And then it was felt that why should we kind of, when the country is hostile to us, why should we rely on that country for importing all kinds of stuff? Some of it could be essential, but some of it is extremely non-essential also. So why should we not become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant? So there's a geopolitical context, which is fine. I mean, India should not be second to anyone when it comes to these kind of matters. We should always have the upper hand. But there is also an economic argument that we strengthen our own industries. We do have manufacturing prowess, as has been shown in so many other verticals. So why is it that there are certain things which we just don't produce? Why should we rely on others? But so the intention behind the campaign is quite all right. I mean, I have no disputes with that. But the key point which I have been making repeatedly, I have written op-ed articles also on that. I've spoken on various other forums also. That why is it that many international investors chose to set up their manufacturing facilities in that country? And let us, I think we should stop beating around the bush. Let us name that country openly. I'm referring to China, as everyone understands. So why is it that China is the kind of world's factory today? Everyone sets their manufacturing facility in China. So obviously there are certain advantages that China offers. So the question will be that if you want to be one up on China, if you want to be Atmanirbhar, then you will have to recreate all that which companies get in China, which they would not have got in India so far. So I personally feel that there is a lot more which China offers that we are missing really. I mean, it is good to have a campaign, good to motivate everyone, but the action on the ground needs to happen sincerely by ensuring that whatever is available in China is also made available in India. And there are many things which states can do that very well. States can offer that very well. So we also want Government of India support, first of all, to this vision that you have to create facilities which match China or even better China, and then encouraging states which are willing to provide that kind of a facility, etc. So, and I know that you have subsequent questions also, but let me maybe cover up some of your subsequent questions by adding a couple of points now itself. See, so if you ask me now, since I've been repeatedly telling that whatever is offered in China, we should do better than that. So one question that you can ask is that what is it that China offers and what is it that we should match up to? So in my opinion, I have been to China, I have seen their industrial parks. I have lots of industries in Hyderabad who are originally from China, and they tell me about what happens in China. So I have both a first-hand understanding and also vicarious understanding. So there are three things essentially that China offers. See, one is scale. If you go to, for instance, I've been to Shenzhen 2-3 times. That is the one of the industrial main hubs in China, manufacturing hubs in China, Shenzhen. So if you go to Shenzhen, the industrial parks are humongous, some 20,000 acres, 25,000 acres, 30,000 acres. And because of that scale, lots of economies are possible. So you can create a self-contained township there. There's manufacturing happening in one corner, workers' dormitories are located in another corner, lots of common facilities, logistics, testing. So that is something which scale offers. In India, typically we talk about an industrial park set up in some 500 acres, 700 acres, 1000 acres, at the most 1500 acres. While in China, everything is 10x, 15,000, 20,000, and so on and so forth. So that is one scale. The second important thing which China offers is ecosystem. So if you decide to set up manufacturing in China, you don't have to look around. Within days, literally, you get in touch with all kinds of vendors who have capability of manufacturing components and ancillaries for you. If you want some quality certification, that agency is available. If you want certain other approvals, all that happens automatically. So a whole ecosystem emerges, has been created in China. So, for example, in Shenzhen, there's an electronics ecosystem. In Hunan, there is a ecosystem for medical devices. Somewhere else, it is for something else, and so on and so forth. And the third thing which China offers is a large number of workforce who are well trained and well disciplined also. So, uh, of course, we do hear occasionally about some unrest in China, but my impression, based on my personal visits and talking to Chinese companies, is that their workforce is very disciplined and any number of people are available to work in the industrial sector. They are trained, they are kind of disciplined, and therefore the productivity of labor is very high. So India needs to match these scale, ecosystem, and labor productivity, skills and productivity. If it has to really become Atmanirbhar, otherwise it will just remain a slogan and nothing more will come out of it.
So you spoke a lot extensively on China. So how do you think that India can channelize all the foreign direct investments into making this campaign maybe a little notch ahead or a step ahead?
See, this is a great opportunity. If you look at the geopolitics, see, unfortunately, we also saw pandemic uh, creating lots of havocs, including causing severe disruptions in the industrial production systems across the globe. So these two factors together, one is the geopolitical movement against China. It is not just that India had this border skirmish. You will be able to recall that even America had trade issues with China. Europe had trade issues with China. So there is a larger kind of a geopolitical issues which are happening with China, and many countries, many companies actually are looking at China plus phenomena. Like if I have an investment in China, I will allow it to remain. Not that I'm shifting lock, stock, and barrel from China, but I'll create one more facility so that there is a backup, and maybe hopefully eventually at some point I can move away from China. So one is the geopolitical imperative. The second is that in the COVID times also, companies realized that it is important to keep the supply chain close to you. I mean, some part of yours is manufactured, let us say, 5,000 kilometers away, something else is happening in another part of the world, particularly during COVID and lockdown, etc. It became literally impossible for those companies to get their act together. So COVID has also demonstrated that keep the supply chain as close as possible so that it is easy for you to handle this pandemics, lockdown, and of course, hopefully COVID is behind us, but this is also an alert for us to prepare ourselves well if something else of this kind strikes at any time. If India has to become attractive, one is that this is a great opportunity. And second, these three things that I spoke about, if we are able to offer that and offer it in a very seamless way, what we have been talking about since almost a decade now of ease of doing business, that India offers these things to you. We have scale. So I'll give you an example. I think this example will clarify quite well what I'm trying to tell you. So uh, again, since we are in the middle of the pandemic, the importance of pharmaceuticals, vaccines, etc., is very evident now. So India definitely manufactures lots of pharmaceuticals, and I give this example because Hyderabad is one of the important hubs for the pharmaceutical world. In fact, 30% of India's pharmaceutical manufacturing 40% of India's pharmaceutical exports happen from Hyderabad. So, but one thing which is missing in India's repertoire is APIs, the active pharmaceutical ingredients. These are typically imported from China. Till 15 years ago or so, India used to manufacture. Indian companies used to manufacture. In fact, one of the largest Hyderabad-based pharma companies is called Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, DRL. They also used to manufacture APIs. Many other local players used to manufacture APIs, but then the market was taken over by China because of their ability to offer it at a very low price because of various. I spoke to you about the scale and ecosystem, etc. Government of India has introduced APIs also in this Atmanirbhar package. So if someone wants to manufacture APIs in India, the government of India will incentivize it, encourage it. But what I found was that the way government of India wants to encourage is just not aligned with the things that I spoke about ecosystem, about scale. So government of India's approach in not just APIs, but in various other Atmanirbhar components seems to be counterproductive to some of the things that I have been speaking to you till now. See, as I told you, uh, ecosystem is very important. So government of India should look at those states which have that scale to offer manufacturing opportunity, which has the ecosystem, which has the trained workforce. So in Hyderabad, I want to let you know that our government, Telangana government, is setting up a pharma park, a Hyderabad pharma city, spread over 20,000 acres. In fact, this will be the world's largest pharma cluster once it is ready. And we have got all the approvals, all the permissions required to operate it. So tomorrow, if a company wants to start, it can start on day one. It can hit the ground running on day one. No time will be lost in securing approvals, permissions, because everything has been pre-secured. All the infrastructure planning, infrastructure funding has been tied up. And Hyderabad, as I mentioned to you, is a large pharma hub, and this pharma hub has 50 years plus history. It's not that this pharma capital became the capital only 5 years ago or 10 years ago. The history goes back to 50 years. And in these 50 years, obviously the whole ecosystem has matured. We have regulators, we have testing facilities, we have logistics, we have packaging. Our universities offer multiple courses on pharmaceuticals. The entire range of that industry is available. Government has a very clear policy on supporting it. So, I mean, intuitively, we should have been the automatic choice to locate this national API project here and encourage companies who are moving out of China or who are looking at China Plus or even domestic companies to start new manufacturing facility here. But the government of India chooses a different way that I will introduce competition amongst the state. And the parameters for this competition are that who offers land at the cheapest rate, who offers water at the cheapest rate, who offers power at the cheapest rate, they will be incentivized. So I personally feel that this kind of an approach is not the one which will induce companies to look at India beyond China as an option to China. This kind of an approach, which my minister calls race to the bottom approach, like whoever gives land free will get this project. So, I mean, this is not the way to select locations. The selections should happen based on ecosystem, on scale, on manpower. But you are choosing to select locations based on who offers the cheapest land, who offers the cheapest power, and so on and so forth. So, Atmanirbhar as a campaign, as a strategy, is definitely important for the country. But the way it is getting implemented has a lot to be lot to be desired.
Sir, my next question will be that since you spoke so much about manufacturing and we already have a campaign which is called the Make in India campaign. So do you think we can utilize this Make in India to maybe channelize further the Atmanirbhar campaign, and whatever you had mentioned can be visualized through that?
Sure. So Atmanirbhar, in my opinion, is just an extension of Make in India. See, Atmanirbhar's focus is that what you are importing right now, some of it is also very trivial. So, for example, if you look around, lots of toys get imported from other parts of the world, and there is nothing very sophisticated in manufacturing a toy. The toy manufacturing, if you play with any toy, you can look at it and you will see that it is just few parts which have been assembled together, fabricated together. There's nothing very rocket science about making a toy. Lots of furnitures get imported in this country. Again, no rocket science in creating or manufacturing or designing furniture. Of course, there are important things like APIs, etc. There are lots of science and research is required, but India has the prowess. I told you that till 15 years ago, companies in Hyderabad used to manufacture APIs. We were Atmanirbhar at that time, but because Chinese policies of supporting their own companies became so much that companies were able to offer the same APIs at a very, very low cost, that Indian manufacturers decided to import rather than buy from local manufacturers. So Atmanirbhar is an extension of Make in India. The focus in Atmanirbhar is on products which we import, so that the import dependence goes down. And government has introduced mega park scheme, but as I said, the selection of the locations is flawed. Similarly, they have introduced a scheme of production linked incentives. So if you produce some of those Atmanirbhar components in India, you will get additional incentives from the government of India, which is very welcome. So Atmanirbhar is an extension, but as I said, if the implementation is planned properly, the right signals are given to the international investors that you will be able to come to India, start immediately. There'll be no waiting, there'll be no delays. Ecosystem is mature, manpower is available. Then large number of international companies will look at India as an alternative to China rather than looking at, let us say, Vietnam or Cambodia or a Bangladesh or a Sri Lanka and so on.
So the next question that I would like to ask you is that the main idea behind the Atmanirbhar campaign was also to go local and be vocal about it. So given India's governance hierarchy, the local government bodies are at the very grassroots. So how can we situate the Atmanirbhar campaign with these local government bodies or the village communities?
See, so I told you that manpower is a very important requirement for this Atmanirbhar campaign. Scale can be provided by the government. Ecosystem again is the responsibility of the government, but manpower has to come from all parts of the country. And the grassroots local bodies play a very important role in identifying who are the young people in that employable age, what kind of skills do they have, what kind of skills need to be added to them, motivate them to participate in skill development programs, encourage institutions to come and do this kind of job melas and these kind of things, and give them employment opportunities. So this is something where the local bodies, the rural local bodies, urban local bodies can play a very important role. So they do have a good role in the entire Atmanirbhar campaign, in my opinion, in the terms of skilling and making the manpower eligible to get into this global kind of jobs.
So my last question to you is, what would be your vision of the Atmanirbhar India?
See, I would be as happy and proud as any other Indian citizen if everything that we require gets manufactured here. It creates more employment opportunities. It brings more buoyancy and dynamism to the economy. Most importantly, it creates a great reputation. Today, China is called the factory of the world. Why not India? So obviously, it will be a very proud moment, and it is a duty for all of us to support Atmanirbhar Bharat, Atmanirbhar campaign. But as I have been mentioning it again and again, we need to look at the flaws that are right now prevailing in the implementation, straighten them, and then go ahead and implement it with our hearts and souls.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining out and sparing your time. And it was indeed an insightful yet a candid interaction on this campaign. And to our viewers, don't forget to follow the Kootneeti for more updates on international relations and diplomacy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arijit.